No official statement confirmed it. No international body publicized it. But the world was about to be rocked by a silent shake-up. Ibrahim Traoré, the leader of Burkina Faso, made a bold move. He told the United Nations, UN, that they were no longer welcome in his country. What happened next left many around the globe stunned. Ibrahim Traoré sat in his dimly lit office. The sun hadn't fully risen over Ouagadougou, but his mind was already fully engaged. He had been reviewing reports for hours. Despite Burkina Faso's efforts to take control of its own future, including launching the African Union Gold and pushing for economic independence, he felt a deeper change was needed. He believed some international organizations were not truly helping his country, but rather upholding old systems of control. His eyes fell on a specific document concerning the presence and activities of the United Nations in Burkina Faso. He had long believed that certain aspects of their operations, while seemingly aimed at aid, often came with hidden conditions or did not align with Burkina Faso's own path to self-reliance. He recalled his consistent message: Africa must control its own destiny. He picked up the secure phone. "Guillaume," he said, his voice firm, "prepare the official notice. United Nations operations in Burkina Faso are suspended, effective immediately. All UN personnel are to cease activities and prepare for departure." Guillaume, his intelligence chief, was known for his calm, but even he paused. "Mr. President, this is a significant step. The international community will react strongly." "Let them," Traoré replied. "For too long our sovereignty has been treated as a suggestion. We need action, not just words. This is a clear signal that Burkina Faso will determine its own path, without external interference in our internal affairs." Within hours, the official notice was delivered to the UN country team in Ouagadougou. The message was unambiguous. The mandate for UN presence was revoked. All programs, from humanitarian aid to development initiatives, were to be wound down. It was an unprecedented move, rarely seen on such a sweeping scale. The news quickly spread through diplomatic channels. Ambassadors scrambled to verify the reports. The UN headquarters in New York received the shocking communication. Initial reactions were a mix of disbelief and outrage. The announcement of the UN ban sent shockwaves. For years, the UN had been a major presence in Burkina Faso, involved in humanitarian aid, development projects, and peace-building efforts, especially given the country's ongoing security challenges and internal displacement. Over 2 million people were internally displaced, and thousands of schools and health facilities were closed due to insecurity. Humanitarian needs had increased significantly. Aid workers, many dedicated to helping the vulnerable, were stunned. Meetings were called, emergency plans discussed. The ban meant that a vast network of assistance and support, relied upon by millions, was suddenly cut off. Questions immediately arose. How would food aid reach those in need? Who would manage health programs? What about the support for displaced people? Governments in the West, already critical of Traoré's leadership, condemned the move. Statements from Washington, Paris, and Brussels accused Burkina Faso of jeopardizing its own people and isolating itself. They highlighted the humanitarian crisis, arguing that the UN's presence was vital. However, in the streets of Ouagadougou and across parts of Africa, the reaction was different. Many saw Traoré's action as a bold assertion of sovereignty, a direct challenge to what they perceived as lingering colonial influence and foreign dictates. Social media buzzed with messages of support, portraying Traoré as a leader unafraid to stand up to global powers. This resonated with the Pan-Africanist sentiment that Traoré embodied, echoing the spirit of past revolutionary leaders. Traoré addressed his nation on state television, explaining his decision. "My brothers and sisters," he began, "for too long we have accepted help that came with strings attached, help that did not truly empower us. The time has come for Burkina Faso to stand on its own feet. We appreciate genuine partnerships, but we will not allow our nation's future to be dictated by external forces, no matter how well-intentioned they may seem." He outlined plans for national initiatives to fill the void left by the UN. He emphasized Burkina Faso's vast natural resources: gold, zinc, copper, which he believed, if properly managed, could fund the country's development without relying on foreign aid or conditional loans from institutions like the IMF and World Bank, which he had already rejected. He reiterated his commitment to addressing the immediate needs of the people, focusing on self-reliance in agriculture and territorial defense. The unexpected turn. Africa rises, the world braced for a humanitarian disaster and further isolation for Burkina Faso. But what happened next shocked everyone. Within days, other African nations, particularly those allied with Burkina Faso in the African Development Pact, stepped up. Nigeria, Mali, Chad, and others, having recently forged a new economic union with Burkina Faso, quickly announced emergency aid packages. Food, medical supplies, and logistical support, traditionally coordinated by the UN, were now being organized and delivered directly by African governments. African humanitarian organizations, often overshadowed by larger international bodies, mobilized rapidly, working with local communities to fill critical gaps. Donations poured in from African businesses and individuals who believed in the vision of a self-reliant continent. The African Union, while expressing concern over the diplomatic implications, subtly supported the principle of national sovereignty and the right of member states to self-determination. Instead of collapsing under pressure, Burkina Faso seemed to galvanize. Its economy, strengthened by the new African Union gold currency and the focus on controlling its own resources, began to show unexpected resilience. The gold refinery project, aimed at processing the country's vast gold reserves domestically, was fast-tracked. Farmers, supported by new government programs for agricultural investment, pushed for increased food production. The Western powers, observing this unforeseen continental solidarity, found their sanctions and diplomatic pressures losing some of their bite. Their predictions of collapse did not materialize. The direct intervention by African nations demonstrated a new level of continental self-sufficiency and unity, a powerful testament to the goals of the African Development Pact. Ibrahim Traoré, standing at a new school built entirely with Burkinabe resources, spoke to the cheering crowds. "They thought we would fall," he declared, "but Africa is rising. We have shown the world that our destiny is in our own hands." A year after the UN ban, international analysts were forced to admit a surprising reality. While challenges remained, particularly concerning ongoing security issues and displacement, Burkina Faso had not descended into chaos. The country was managing its humanitarian situation primarily through its own efforts, and with the direct support of fellow African nations. The reliance on external aid had significantly diminished, replaced by a surge of self-determination and inter-African cooperation. The ban, once seen as an act of self-sabotage, had instead become a symbol of a new era of African independence and collective resilience. The UN, though no longer formally present, found itself in a new diplomatic landscape. It had to engage with a continent increasingly determined to set its own terms. The decision by Ibrahim Traoré, initially met with shock and condemnation, had inadvertently forced a re-evaluation of global power dynamics, proving that for some nations, sovereignty was not just a word, but a principle worth staking everything upon.